Hello, guys. I hope we are clearly live and I'm audible to you. Can you just confirm it in the chats? Are you guys excited for the event? Hello, Disha. Thanks. Thanks for confirming. Okay, so for beginning, a very warm welcome to this session. I'm Devashish Khare, a mentor here at Geeks for Geeks, and I'm going to be the host for this session. You must have already guessed about like what the session is going to be, right? You have seen the pamphlets and the ads everywhere, but let me clear it once again. The session is going to be about demystifying system design interviews, okay? And there is going to be a mock live interview in front of you guys, which will give you a very clear vision about how a real interview goes. And for that, with us, we have Arsh Goel, SD at Samsung. He needs no introduction, but still, let's invite him on the stage, and Arsh will be taking the session forward. Okay, Arsh, please take on the dais. Everybody is here.
Hi Devashish, hope you're doing great. Thank you so much for a
Hello,
great
Arsh.
introduction. Super excited for this session. Looking forward to talk to all of you about system design. So generally, system design is something that people are not aware of because it's not a subject that generally is a part of college curriculum in computer science, right?
Right.
So this is something that you develop on your own, that you need to learn on your own. So majorly, students need to understand how to tackle those type of questions if they are getting these kind of questions in the interviews. So majorly, like for freshers, if I talk about generally the system design part, you can divide it into two. One is low level design and one is high level design, that is HLD. So for freshers, and you can say from people who are from 0 to 2 years of experience, generally the low level design part is taken into consideration. You won't be seeing high level design part. When I say low level design, there's a subject that is very relevant to low level design that you study in your curriculum itself, that is object oriented programming. So if you're aware of object oriented programming in Java or in C++, you might have studied this subject in your college curriculum. And there we start with the concept of classes, right? We start with the concept of objects, how an object is created, how a class is made. And understanding those classes and those objects, we try to use multiple different properties of object oriented programming. When I say object oriented programming, you might have seen, or you might have read somewhere, the principles like inheritance, like polymorphism, right? Like abstraction, right? So these are some of the principles. You can say these are the salient features that are there in any object oriented programming language, and that helps us in a lot of ways. They helps us in code reusability. They helps us to better improve code quality. They help us to improve, like let's say we want to have some security features, so we can put in those security features. There are like different features for all of these principles. So that's why it makes object oriented programming unique, and we will be able to work on large code bases using object oriented programming. So that's why it comes into picture. And if you are comfortable enough in object oriented programming, you can definitely easily get on the stairs of learning low level design. So it's basically about how to build those data members, those methods, and using those data members, those methods, we can represent a complete system. So that's basically the low level design of any system. A lot of things are there. Super excited to talk to all of you. There's one special announcement for everyone who has joined in us with today for this particular session. We will be having a giveaway in which we'll be giving away something special to those who will be here till the end of the session, who will be watching this entire mock interview. I have a candidate with whom we'll be having one question, basic low level design question that a fresher can expect in his or her interviews. And that is something that will give you an idea how to answer such type of a question in an interview. We'll have a discussion, then after that we'll have a small feedback session, like what all things he did right, what all things could have been improved, right? And after that there's one special giveaway that we are going to announce towards the end of the session. So stay tuned for the end, and yeah, let's get started.
Along with it, I would also be taking your questions from the chats. So don't worry if you have any query regarding the mock interview or anything in between, you can keep it to yourself. And when the QA starts, you can post it in the chats. We'll be taking it from there. And Ash, that we are talking about LLD and the current hiring scenario, what is your take on that? Because I can see there are changes in the trend, right? It is not the
Hmm.
regular one. What is your statement on that?
So the major thing, Devashish, it's like companies have been hiring on problem solving, and that would remain, right? It's not like key problem solving is going to be obsolete for sure, but it is like companies want something additional, something new that can be built upon, that they can help to understand whether a student can build systems or not. That a student like has a basic understanding of how a system is built. So that's why this concept of system design, or this concept of low level design, has been introduced in some of the company interviews. I would not say all companies ask, but for freshers, let's say if you are a college graduate in your final year, there would be let's say some companies who would be having a round in which you'll be asked questions based upon system design. To be specific, you might have these rounds in Atlassian type company, or you might have these rounds in a company like Intuit, right? So they have specific rounds for system design. But let's say you have joined any company, and after that, like within an experience range of 0 to 3 years, if you plan to switch on, right, then definitely there's a high chance that you would be asked low level design problem in your interviews. So you need to be specific about what low level design, because the concepts you already know, right? It's just that how to use that knowledge already that you have, and you can answer that question well in the interview. It's just about that, right? So you know object oriented programming, how to use that object oriented programming to answer a question that you might come across in an interview. So that's basically object oriented programming, and companies have started hiring candidates on the basis of object oriented programming, or like this low level designing or object oriented programming. So as the trends are changing, so we also do need to change our preparation strategies. So as much as we focus upon data structural algorithms, once you feel like you are a little bit comfortable in data structural algorithms, so the next thing you prepare is, like you earlier used to prepare CS fundamentals. So along with that CS fundamentals, we might need to focus upon low level design as well, right? So this entire scenario of hiring might look a little different. Companies have started coming up with hackathons also, right? So during a hackathon, you need to build a project within 48 hours. So if you have a good understanding of object oriented design, so it would be easier for you to design a smaller system that you can present in front of the interviewers. So this concept of hackathons would also be used by companies, and is being used currently for hiring candidates. So that also should be taken into consideration.
So can we say OOP is no more a theoretical subject, but because of LLD, we have to, like take care of the applications in a very broad manner, right?
Yeah, like earlier we used to consider that it's a simple subject that comes in our
Yeah,
course curriculum, and we just need to mug up some definitions, polymorphism, what is inheritance,
yeah.
types of inheritance, and it is done. But no, it's more than that. We just need to we just need to have some applications based upon that. So that is what is going to happen in the future.
Uh, Still, if I have to ask, like, how is LLD still relevant and why it is relevant?
Okay. So let's say why, if I talk about this why part of the question, how this LLD or how this system design is useful. Let's say if you're a fresher, right? And you, let's say, people generally link this system design with backend engineers. So that is something that is wrong. I certainly believe that if a backend engineer is working upon something, he needs to have a solid understanding of how a system is being designed. But even if you are a front end engineer, right, there are lots of parts throughout the day in which you need to interact with full stack engineers or interact with backend engineers. So during that part, you would be able to better understand the concepts or better explain your problem to the backend engineer only if you have an understanding of simple low level design. So for front end engineers also it is relevant, right? So how to work in a team, how to work in a collaboration, so you need to have that understanding so that all of you are on the same page, right? Secondly, let's say if you talk about troubleshooting or you talk about debugging, right? If you know how a robust system is built, so it would even help you, like if you have a good knowledge of system design or low level design, it would even help you understand how you can debug faster, right? So your time efficiency or the efficient work that you can do, so that is also a part of good system design or good low level design. So if you're good with these concepts, and if you join a new company, So you would be definitely at an edge with somebody who is not aware of these concepts, right? So you already are aware of how these systems are built, and you can just learn upon the tools and technologies that the company is working upon, but your solid fundamentals would be the same. So that is the second thing. Then third thing is interview processes, right? Generally it's not like somebody joins a company, then definitely he or she plans to grow in his career. Whenever you plan to grow in your career, so there are two three options: either you work very good in your company, or you feel like you are learning a lot. A point comes in when you feel like you're not learning a lot and you need to move on, then you plan to switch. When you plan to switch, right, so in your interviews you would definitely be asked low level design. So apart from development in your career growth also, low level design or system design in general would play a part going forward. So generally good software engineers are considered somebody is having a very good knowledge of system design. So problem solving is one, but yes, if you want to grow in your career in a longer run, system design plays an important part. Like even if after 4 years or 5 years or 10 years down the line, the major interview rounds that you will be having are system design rounds. Maybe some initial 1 or 2 rounds would be based upon data structure algorithms, that just to test your problem solving skills. But going forward with experience, more uh, uh, contribution would be of these system design rounds or these low level design rounds. So that's why this is relevant, and it is going to be relevant if you plan to build those robust systems.
Well, now listening to the importance, well, I am definitely very interested in seeing the mock interview that is we are going to have further on. Once again, for the audience who might have recently joined, we are going to be having a giveaway in this video. So make sure that you are staying till the last of the session, because Arsh will be announcing something very interesting for you guys. And before we move on and we start the mock interview, I think Arsh would like to explain some of the things about Geek-O-Lympics. Arsh, over to you.
Yeah. So I am just trying to present my screen. Will try to show what Geek Olympics is and how can you benefit out of this Geek Olympics, be it in terms of learning new technologies, be it in terms of understanding how things work and what all features does it have. Devashish, I would just want to know if my screen is visible.
Yes, that is, and the audience can confirm it. Audience, is the screen visible to you? Um, I'm sure it's live. You can
Sure, sure.
go ahead.
So this is a special event that is being organized throughout this entire month from 1st July to 31st July, in which you'll be having a lot of events. Let's say when we talk about Olympics, right? So it's a celebration of sports. So Geek Olympics is a celebration of computer science and software engineering in general. So here you can come and you can check out what all things they have to offer. So multiple different events are being organized throughout this entire month. There's something known as Code Extreme, in which you need to solve problem of the day for Geeks. Like every day you'll be solving one problem, and based upon that you will be getting a lot of prizes can be in the form of Amazon vouchers, or they can be in the form of gold medal in Geek Olympics medal test. So you can get a chance to win this 31 days, 31 winners and 31 gold medals plus Amazon vouchers every day. So you need to solve a problem every day. This will help you build your consistency. Next is Hack Wars. So this is a kind of a project or an application leveraging. You need to use these particular technologies. What technologies? Data science, machine learning, data analysis, to help build something robust. So this is also a great competition in which top three teams would be winning a prize pool of 30,000. So if you are somebody who's interested in working on systems like working on technologies like data science, machine learning and data analysis, this would be something that you can look forward to. Next, if I talk about it's Geekster. So Geekster is also something that you should look forward to if you already have some experiences, right? If you have interviewed for some company, or if you have interviewed for some job, interviewed for some admission, so you can go and write down your interview experiences on Geeks. We already have a lot of experiences on Geeks, where somebody who is in a need of job can go and check out those interview experiences and gain that confidence before their actual interview. So you can also share your interview experiences. That would be helpful for upcoming your juniors also, and you can in turn win some GFG goodies, right? So this is also an event. Then there's Job Arena, which in which multiple jobathons are being conducted, where a lot of startups are participating. You can go and participate and get a job or an internship at those startups. Then there's Live Stage, in which sessions would be conducted throughout this entire month, these sessions would be based upon multiple different topics. Let's say today we are having a session on data system design, right? So tomorrow you'll be having a session on something else. It can be data structures, it can be C++. So these sessions would be helpful for you to explore different fields, right? It would help you to explore which particular field you are interested in, so that you can continue ahead with the same. Then there's something known as fun zone, right? So in fun zone, you need to spin the wheel of knowledge, and you can win exciting prizes and discounts on multiple different products that GFG has. So I feel this is something that you should definitely check out. You will find the links for registering on this competition in the description below, right? Make sure you do check it out. Now I believe we can start with the interview.
Yes, sure. Well, the wait is over for the audience. We are going to be having the live mock interview now. I would like to invite Isjot on the screen. Isjot, are you there?
Yeah, Devashish,
Okay.
I'm here. Yeah,
Okay, so
I
Isjot is here. So, audience, Isjot will be the interviewee for this, and Arsh will be interviewing him. So, I think, Arsh, you can continue and enjoy. Please see and
Thank
learn
you so
from it.
much. Thank you, Devashish. See you later. Yeah. Hi, Jodh. Hope you're doing
yeah,
great.
yeah, I'm doing good. How? What about you?
Yeah, I am also doing great. So we'll be having this small mock interview session for low-level design, right? I
Hmm.
hope you are aware about what low-level design is. We have talked
Yes,
about it in the beginning also.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how the flow would be, I'll just explain it to you. I'll share my screen. I'll explain you a question. I'll explain you a problem. What exactly I expect out of this particular session. Then
Hmm.
maybe if you have some doubts, or if you want to clarify something, you can clarify,
Okay.
right? And then you can think for some time. You can take your time, you can think, you can let me know your approach, how you'll be approaching this problem, right?
Hmm.
And then we can move on to how to implement this particular solution, right? So this is going to be the flow of the interview. I hope you're clear with this.
Yes, yeah, I'm here with this.
Great. So let's just start. I'll try to present my screen, and we can start with the mock interview.
Okay, sure.
So I'll also be sharing this link to the doc where we'll be actually coding, and you can also open it on your screen so that you are aware of the question. Let me just
Sure.
present my screen. Okay. So this is the question that's there in front of you. So
Hmm.
what you need to do is I need a low level design. You need to
Hmm.
design a ride sharing application. You can
Okay.
take something like ride sharing application. When I say it's something, let's say an Uber or something related to that, a ride
Hmm.
sharing application where drivers can offer rides and any rider can request rides, right? So
Okay.
there are three four parameters that you can see. One is origin, one is destination, and one is number of seats. Let's say a driver, like how can a driver offer rides? There would be one particular point from where he will pick up. There will be one particular point where he will drop, that is known as destination, and how many
Hmm.
number of seats are available in that particular car or particular vehicle, right? And any
Okay.
rider, let's say I want to book a ride, I will book a ride from a particular pickup point. I will mark down some particular drop point, that's the destination, and I would say ki, let's say I want two seats or three seats or whatsoever, right? So this is
Okay.
something that we need to build. So what exactly the program should be taking as input is, it should input two or more drivers and a set of riders requesting rides, right?
Okay.
Multiple rides can happen simultaneously. So this is a condition that you should keep in mind. We can have multiple
Okay.
rides being on simultaneously.
Hmm.
So what is the algorithm that you can choose to calculate the ride amount charged for a given ride based on the distance and number of seats, right? So
Okay.
how this bill would be calculated, how the final amount that you need to pay to the driver would be calculated. So when the
Okay.
ride closes, show the amount charged to the rider. Matlab once we are done with the final ride is completed, then you need to show the amount, that is total amount that the user needs to pay to the driver on the screen,
Hmm.
right? So you need to calculate that. So how we'll be
Okay.
calculating that is, this is particular algorithm. So algorithm says that ride amount if number of seats is greater than or equal to 2. So how we'll be calculating that ride is number of kilometers into number of seats into 0.75 ka factor and amount charged per kilometer. Let's say we
Okay.
have some specific, we can assume this amount charged per kilometer, and we can further calculate this problem,
Okay.
calculate this amount. Secondly, if ride amount if number of seats is 1, then we will be having direct number of kilometers into amount charged per kilometer will not be having this 0.75 ka factor, right? We are giving some kind of discount when the number of seats are more than two or are two or more than two, right? So that's why we have this factor of 0.75. Else we directly have number of kilometers into amount charged per kilometer, right?
Understood.
So I hope this is clear till here.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. So next, what I want you to implement is I want you to implement something in which a register can you can register a driver or cab. You can
Hmm.
register a rider. You can book a ride. You can create a ride. You can generate a bill. How to generate a bill? This is the format. You can check
Hmm.
the validity of an ongoing ride for a new rider. You can update the ride status. You can fetch revenue of all the rides taken by the driver. Let's say at the end of the day, driver can see how many rides he has taken and how much money he has earned in the entire day. So this is something that I expect out of this particular problem. I would like to understand your thoughts if you have understood and if you have this particular if you've got this particular document where I've shared this particular problem.
So, like I've understood the question. Like you, like I'm supposed to design an LLD of a ride-sharing application, where you have
Yes.
already defined that there will be like one is the driver, like one user is the driver and another user is the rider, right? So
Mm-hmm.
then they can book the application. Then there is an algorithm to calculate the amount. So you've already mentioned, for if the number of seats are greater than equal to two, then we are like charging into number of kilometers into number of seats into 0.75 into amount charged per kilometer. Then another algorithm is for number of seats equal to one, and when it comes to the input, it should like the input should be two or more driver, and there is a set of riders who are requesting for the rides. Okay, and the multiple
Yeah.
rides can happen simultaneously. So, like in general, what a usual ride sharing app, even in the daily basis, also work like in the same way. So yeah, I
True.
have understood, and like you have defined some functions which need to be implemented, and yeah, so I've understood the question. Looks good. Yeah.
ठीक है. So I would stop sharing my screen. I would want you to share the screen so that maybe you can take your time to think, and there only
Hmm.
we can start the implementation, right?
Okay. Sure.
Cool.
I'll just share this.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So is the screen visible, right?
Not yet. Yeah, now I think it's visible. Yeah, you
Okay.
can just zoom in a little bit so that audience can see.
Sure. Fine.
Now it's visible. Yeah, we can start.
So now, since this is like a ride sharing application, so like can we discuss on like few things, like what how is the basically the currency for the payment would be like? It would be like Indian
Currency would be
INR.
INR. INR. You can
Oh,
take the assumption as INR.
okay. Then register a driver, cab, register a rider, book a ride, okay, create a ride, generate bill, check the validity of an order, update the ride status, fetch revenue from the rides taken by a driver or cab. When the ride closes, invoice is greater than equal to understood. Okay. So in this case, I guess we can first define few things like like suppose we have a user and a like one user is the rider, another user is the driver, right? And
Mhm.
like we have few entities in this application. Suppose one entity could be a cab, right? So we can try treat a cab as an entity. Then with related to cab, there is a driver and there is a rider. Okay, so there those things could also be considered as an entity. Okay, and since we
Yeah.
are implementing them in an NLD, so we'll basically in the implementation part we'll take them as classes, those entities as classes,
Mhm.
and we can take them, and there can be like few other entities. Like suppose we can define few relationships, like for example, uh, mm, one cab can have kind of n rides. Okay, so we can define few relationships, and then I guess we can manipulate the business logic and try to build it. So that's what I feel. So this is my like the current thought process. Like I'll try to define few entities and then treat them. Basically, those entities implementation wise would be treated as classes, and then we can define some methods in it. And according to the business logic, we can write the implementation in those methods, and it should like
Can
work.
you just help me know which all entities will be making, which all
Uh,
functions, which all
okay.
classes will be making?
Okay, so one
Which would be
entity,
required for this entire problem to be solved? Total number of classes.
okay. One would be the cab. Okay,
Hmm.
another
Yes.
could be the like use. There is a user entity which would basically divide into two roles. Like one would be the rider, and another would be the driver. Okay, and
Hmm.
then a cab can have a like there can be a trip. Okay, basically the trip what like a trip like what's the source and the destination of the ride. Okay, and like what's the amount. So in that case we'll also have a bill. Like bill will have the invoice amount, date, and those kind of things. Trip is
Hmm.
there. And then we can also have like what else we can have then. Cab, driver, rider, trip, bill. Mm, like reading these functions, driver, rider, bill is there, status, revenue, and driver. I guess these entities I think looks fine. Or do you think am I missing out on any other entity?
Have you
Cab
taken
is
care
there.
of? Yeah, yeah. I think have you taken care of the directions in which like these entities are fine, but I
Hmm.
would want you to understand any other things that you have apart from this that you want me to ask or want me to clarify before we go ahead with the implementation.
Yeah. So since we discussed the amount would be on the basis of kilometer, and
Yeah.
like the distance could what how we are expecting the distance to be, like is it a linear distance, displacement, are we what like how do we calculate the distance? Will we be given us like some start or the end coordinates or start or end destination? So how will we like supposed to calculate the distance? This is amount is fine, that we will be calculating the amount on the basis of number of kilometers. Okay, basically
Hmm.
that is the distance. And then we have the seats would be fine, we would know number of seats. We would be also define, okay, now what was the amount charged per kilometer?
Hmm.
Can we
So
take it as a
you
standard
can
or
you can take a standard amount charged per kilometer as 10 rupees per kilometer, 10 INR per kilometer that you can take,
okay,
right? Second
okay,
thing, you were talking about how to calculate the distance. It's basically you can consider this map is a straight line, and
okay,
locations are non-negative integers on the axis. So basically, destination minus your origin would give you the number of kilometers that you will be taking into consideration.
okay. So you just like you want me to take as a basically linear distance, right?
Yes. So you can
Kind
simply
of
take a linear distance. We'll keep it simple.
okay. So kind of a, like a axis with which something like a positive x-axis, right?
Yeah.
From
True.
the
True.
origin. Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay, okay. The distance assumption is like kind of a okay, like something uh, like I put this into basically assumptions. It is kind of a linear. Okay. Yeah. Mm, it is fine. And okay, then okay. I think these things are also clarified. I can just try implementing few classes, and then we can then
So
we can
which
define the
class
system.
would you which particular method or function you would like to start with? That would be most feasible.
Mm, register a driver or the cab. So I would, I guess, I can go with the register a driver or a cab that I
Sure,
can go with.
sure. We can start.
So, uh, like, do you want me to write the kind of a pseudocode implementation or like a hardcore like programming language? Like the pseudocode would work fine, right?
Uh,
Like,
it would be better if you
okay,
can explain
I'll
it
try to
in
use the
and
key.
we can go into the code. Like first, let's say if you are defining a function, register a rider, right? So how
Hmm,
what's the idea behind that, and then we can maybe implement our pseudocode or the exact code.
okay, okay. I'll try to be like as accurate as possible. I'll try to use few keywords as well so that the like you can all can kind of understand this.
Sure.
So basically, I'll define the class cab. Okay. So
True.
basically, in the class cab, like we can have the basically the ID of the cab. Okay. Basically, ID
Mhm.
would be something which would distinguish to basically uh, like different cabs, right? Either we can have a unique number or something of ID. So we can have a ID which would be of kind of integer. Okay. And then we can have a int number of seats, okay, in the cab. Basically, that would define that how would the number of seats in the cabs are available. If we like want to make it more generic, okay. So like if you want to make it more generic, then we can define a cab size, okay. So basically, a cab size would kind of a enum, okay, basically. And in that case, we can define a enum where basically those enum would have some particular values, okay. Suppose for example, small would be 1, okay. Like
Mhm.
those, either we can, if you want to use some more technical terms, then we can use sedan, hatchback, or then SUVs, those kind of things. But like for example, medium would be something like cap size would be 2, okay. And there
Mhm.
would be a cap size of large, which would be have a value of a 3. And then we can like categorize them on the basis of number of seats. So basically this is for 3 to 4 people, okay. This is for kind of 5 to 6 people, and this is this is for like 7 to 8 people, okay. We can categorize them in the basis of that, okay. Then if we want to use number of seats, I guess for this it would be better to use cap size. Then we can define a cap size basically, which is a kind of enum which belongs to the cap size, okay. So basically it would help us to distinguish the uh, size of the cap, so which type of cap you want to book, okay. And then like there can be few caps which are like currently active or inactive. For them we can define the cap uh, like cap active status, okay. Okay, something like that, okay. Basically, or we can define something like cap status, which
So
would
what
be
does
kind.
caps? What thing would be there in cap status?
I'm trying to like those like either if the cab is available for the booking or not at that particular event, where there are like few people who basically turned on their cabs for a moment in case they do not want to accept the rides, okay.
Okay.
So in that case we can add like availability, okay. Could be one thing. Not availability could be the another status, okay. We can also add a status like blocked in case that cab is just blocked for like some penalty reasons or something. Then we can keep them blocked. Suppose the company, the organization is not allowing the driver to book for the application due to some due to some rules and regulations. Then we can block as well. Okay, and uh, basically not available is kind of a basically it means booked. If you want to use a better term, then we can use a booked. Booked is seems a better word, I guess. And then we have a cap status, okay, and that would belong to the enum cap status. So this is basically the cap would look like, okay. And then we can basically uh, create a function, okay. basically that function would basically uh, kind of come inside the, this is the one entity which I have defined. So just can I quickly define few entities so that it's become little clearer, more
Sure,
defined? Okay.
you can
Uh,
explain.
let's suppose I can have the another entity. It could be the class rider. Okay. So basically, to distinguish the rider, either we can have the ID, which is basically unique, or we can have the mobile number. It's up to us. Okay, whatever we want. Okay. Uh, basically, it would basically distinguish easily. Then the rider basically then have the full name. Okay, or the basically if you want to let's keep shorten for time, we can have the email. Okay, so that we can distinguish the rider on the basis of email. And
Hmm.
mm, then I guess for this much we can keep this. Then it's on the same way we have the class driver. Okay, and class driver is also have the int ID and the string email. We can also give a phone number as well. Here. Then we can also have the because the status we're already holding, so we'll have manage the status from the cab, so that is fine. Status we are managing from the cab, that is fine. This what I feel could be. Then other things could be mm, mm, okay. Then another could be the class bill. Okay. The bill basically would handle the amount. Okay. So let's basically it would have the first it would have the ID to uniquely identify the bill, and then it would have the int amount. Okay, so it would have the integer amount. This
Hmm.
is and ID would work as a reference number. Okay, so would work as a reference number, so that is fine. Now we can have a class trip, which would actually basically trip. Now it's something kind of a core entity because it would actually bind few things. So basically what a trip can have, basically it would have the integer ID. You basically uniquely can identify the trip. Okay, then basically the trip would have the source and the destination.
Hmm.
Okay, would have the string source, and it would have the source and destination. So basically we are making as a string. Okay, and basically it would have the cab. Trip would belong to have a cab. Okay, and the cab we can correlate the cab with the driver. So if I guess this looks good. In case if we have the cab, then we can correlate the driver.
Can we
Basically,
quickly write some functions?
yeah,
Which
sure.
functions would we can start writing? Maybe we can start with how you will be registering a particular cab.
Okay. So basically now basically I'll try to define, this is the entities I've defined. Okay,
Got it.
so I just give, and it would have the bill, and here we have inside the cab we'll actually I try to add the driver, which has the actually the driver of the cab. Okay, and
Hmm.
it will have the rider. I guess this too good. Now this is the class trip is the core entity which are behind in the cab, bill, and the rider. Okay, and the driver is related in the class cab itself. Okay,
Hmm.
and now suppose if I create a class ride sharing application. Here suppose This application will have a like lot of tabs. Suppose if we have a vector of cabs, okay, basically this is kind of a list, basically array of cabs. So basically this is the list of the array of the cabs which actually belong in the current application who are registered in the
You can
application.
write
So
down. You can write down the complete function. Then we can discuss on this.
yeah, I can write bool register
Then you can
cab.
explain maybe.
Okay. Uh, to register a cab, basically I will have this string. Mm, I just have, what do I have? Status driver. Okay. Okay. So for registering the cab, I would actually first should have the driver. So bool register driver. Driver have. Okay. So driver have ID. String email. So I have the driver, and there I can derive kind of a write this driver to kind of a new driver. Okay. And driver dot id is equal to id. So I create this driver. Then in the cab, what do I have to add? Cab size, cab size. So
Can we quickly have a discussion on the above written functions?
yeah, yeah, sure, sure. We can. Basically, I've tried to define a register boot driver. Okay. Basically, it takes some arguments, basically ID, the email, and the phone number, and then I just try to basically try to return true when the driver is successfully created. One case we can handle here that if the another driver is coming and he's registering with the already using email and the phone number, in that case we can return false. Okay. So in that case we have to create some other helper methods to check if this is a valid driver creation or not. Okay. In case if it's not a valid driver creation, then we can return false. Okay.
Mhm.
So currently I've written the logic where everything as a positive case. I've written it that whatever the driver is trying to register is something unique. Okay. But in case the phone number does exist already, then we can return false in that case. So basically, we can suppose just for a high level, if I say if basically kind of if not is valid phone or something like this or already existing phone, okay, then in that case we can return false, okay, because we want to keep the phone number unique and the email unique, okay. Like we can create a function like is like if is already using phone, something like this,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
then we
So
can
the
return
condition,
false.
like,
Like we have to define those methods, and then it would be like we'll have that method there, like the same, like so the scam implementation would always be similar. Like in case in that case, we can create a helper method like if uh, like does driver already exist, like है ना, like or we can does driver own a cab, okay. So in that case, we can pass a driver, okay, and check if does the driver own a cab already. Then in that case, we can return false, okay. And if everything looks good, this is basically the return false. But if everything looks good, we can return true, and we can do before that we can just do cap.say.
understood, understood. I think seeing the timing for our session, will like
Okay.
to interrupt, and maybe similar functions you can write it down on your what exactly with the type of functions that I've defined earlier. So you can write it down in a similar way, right? So we'll come on to the feedback part. I would like to understand from your the interview is done, although we have some parts left, but seeing the time, let's
Hmm.
let's just conclude upon certain other things. So I just wanted to understand how has been your experience of this interview.
Yeah, it was good. Like the problem statement was very clear, okay, and this problem looked like a very real world implementation, okay. So basically because we since in a modern way, like we all have been going through this kind of application, so it looked good. So the experience was good, and like the statement was clear, like everything, like as from my experience, like it was a like a clear problem statement. I knew like what I had to do, but
Hmm.
like with the like process where I was implementing the things, so I just like need to be like like I know that suppose when we like move on with the further entities, then the relationship will get complex. But although like it was the problem statement was clear and
Got it. So coming upon to how I felt as an interviewer. So the first thing is the problem statement that we chose was something on a very simpler line. It didn't involve some
okay.
complex systems or something, right? So it was
Hmm.
simpler. So
Hmm.
the major thing was in the beginning when I was trying to explain the problem, maybe we could have a better discussion. So that discussion part we could have a little more improved, although it was there, but we could have improved upon that. Second part is when we try to implement things, right, we should work upon the code quality as well. So there was
Okay.
some discrepancies in that code quality. I believe that needs to be improved. Major part of discussion in any system design interview is like it's
Hmm.
more of more of a discussion rather than an interview, right? So throughout the problem you can't assume anything. So it was good that you were not assuming and you were asking me what all things are there. So it's
Hmm.
like in general point also. So you also don't need to assume anything, but you should definitely interact with the interviewer and then only move ahead with the process, because you might assume something on your own and you might build something else that is not my expectation. So what my
Yeah.
expectation is, as per that I'll tell you the requirement and you need to go forward with that. Don't hurry
Understood.
up. Take your time. When I explained you the problem statement, you could have taken some more time and structured it well, right? Rather than like you were kind of little bit confused later on which function to pick up first and which function, which class to pick up first. So the thing is, you could have taken time and you could have structured the approach, and then you should have
Hmm.
come up with a solution, and then we could have a further discussion. So this was the overall idea that I felt. But yeah, overall it was a good attempt, Ishjot. Thank you so much for joining in us with us today. It was lovely talking to you.
Same here. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice speaking to you guys.
Same here.
So, hello again, Harsh, and I really hope like this was a very distinctive session because we usually see like sessions on system design where one is explaining, but we like imitated a whole interview here. So I believe this was a distinctive and a very well structured learning experience for the audience as well. Now, Arsh, you were about to tell something about the giveaways. So carry on
Yeah,
again.
yeah. Before we hop
Back to
on to
you.
the giveaways, I definitely have that in mind for sure. But let me tell you what exactly we are going to do in that giveaway, and something that we are going to offer in that giveaway, that is system design course. I would present my screen once again. Just let me know once my screen becomes visible. Yeah. So can you see here, Devashish? Is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Cool. So I would just like to introduce a special course that has been recently launched by Geeks, and it's getting a very good response. The course name is Mastering System Design from Low Level to High Level Solutions. So what exactly you can do in this particular courses? So if you are a beginner, like if you don't know anything and you want to start with low level design, then gradually move on to high level design, this course is for you. If you are somebody who already has some experience, let's say you are from 0 to 2 years of experience and you want to switch for SD1 roles, for you also the low level design part is very relevant, like the type of questions that are being asked in the interview, so you will be getting that. Third thing is, if you are somebody with more than 5 years or 6 years of experience and you plan to interview for SD2, SD3 or SDM roles, for that also you will be getting a great content for high level design with live sessions going on throughout and some recorded content. So what exactly this entire course structure is, what is the syllabus that is being covered? So we'll try to see it just once. So we'll be covering assessment tests, we'll be having job assistance along with that. It is kind of beginner friendly, so even if you don't have any knowledge of system design priorly, you can join. You might need to have some very basic knowledge of programming, fundamentals of programming. If you're comfortable with any one language, you're good to go with this course, right? So course overview, you'll be having entire coverage of 10 hours for this particular course. Live classes would be there, interaction, real world case studies, practical scenarios, the type of questions that are being asked in the interviews, that would be taught. And this course has been recorded in a way in which how you should attempt such a problem when it comes in your interview, right? So there'll be certain design problems. You would be getting industry recognized certification as well, so that shows how credible this part is and how can you show that in the job market. Next is placement assistance is also something that they will provide once you complete this particular course. So you'll be helped in some way so that you can get to your job or your dream company. So what is basically covered in this particular program is, so we'll be covering major parts of low level design, starting from basic object oriented programming design. We'll talk about constructors, UML diagrams, code design principles, LLDs, well, different solid principles, then design patterns, strategy, observer, factory. All these are very important design patterns, and these are majorly used in system design interviews. The interview that we took today was something on a very beginner level, you can say. We didn't much use any of these patterns or something related to systems, but yes, these are some things that you should be knowing going forward. A lot of case studies and live classes would be there, right? Then there's high level design. So for HLD also, you talk about DNS, load balancer, scaling, database architecture, database replication, sharding, indexing. So all of these topics are covered, very important from the point of view of SD2, SD3 or SDM roles. If you're trying to interview for those, a lot of good reviews and ratings have already been in place. You can check out, this course has been taken by me as well as Jay Chakra, right? So extensive experience in system design. You can check this out. If you wish to get this particular course, you can check out the link in the description, right? So will be you can go on their website, you can see if how this course goes on, and you can definitely get a counseling also. Like if you want to know whether this course is suitable for you or not, so you can get a counseling by calling on this particular number, and then only you should go ahead and purchase. The course has current rating of 4.8 over 5, so this is something that is very great, right? So definitely you should check this out. And yes, now coming upon to our giveaway. So if I talk about giveaway, so this course that you have currently seen, right? So we'll be giving this course for completely free to 3 of our viewers. How you'll be getting this particular course? So just after this session, I'm going to make a LinkedIn post. There'll be a specific task that you need to do. It's a very small, simple task, nothing much. Just need to do that small task, and you can be one of the lucky winners who gets this system design course for completely free. You don't need to pay anything for this. So yeah, look forward to a LinkedIn post. I'll share the link to that LinkedIn post in the description. That also you can go through, so you can be a part of that giveaway. I would also share the LinkedIn profile where you can see this giveaway giveaway happening, right? So yeah,
All
thank you,
right,
Devashish.
Arsh. So, yeah, great. Uh, I think the audience is still consuming the whole mock interview and session. They are understanding what is happening, and they are might be having different concepts to ask for. But right now, um, there are only two questions that are being posted, and one is okay. So the questions are coming on the screen. I'll be just give me a second. All right, we can start with this question of Rishit Chaudhary.
Yeah, what is the question?
On the screen. How to prevent a scope creep when going over the system requirements during a system design discussion.
Yeah. So, what exactly do you mean by scope creep? Is like it happens when some changes are made to are already like that I initially made to the project scope without any control or procedure like change request. So we don't have any specific change requests, but we might need to add some additional functions, or we might need to have some new product or new requirement that comes in between, right? Let's say I tell you to do something, and in between there are some additional requirements that I put in. So that is something that Rishit is asking. So you definitely need to, first of all, you need to be good at your presentation and confidence. Like this is something that happens within your company also. Let's say you're working upon some particular project, and in between that something comes out of the way. Let's say client has some different requirements, or something happens that is not under your control. So how would you react to such a situation? How can you implement that entire functionality which within the already present code? So this, I would say, how to handle this. It's majorly more about how you structure your problem well. The more you practice, right, the more interviews you give, the more mock interviews you give, you'll have that experience of handling such a situation, right? There's no practical solution. Yeah, we should handle it like this. You should be aware, you should structure your approach, and then maybe these kind of problems can be handled.
I hope, Rishit, your question is answered and you are satisfied with it. For the next question, I can see Neelav asking this. He's saying, what level of projects is required for interviews?
So if I talk about fresher interviews, generally the major focus, if there are two kind of companies. Let's say if you are aiming at companies which are big tech companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon. For those companies, you may need to have good projects. Be it for those companies, major focus is on problem solving and not much on projects. Whereas if you talk about some of the startups like Swiggy, Zomato, Meesho, urban companies, so there might be some teams that would be giving more preference to person who is already good with development, right? So for them, having good projects, open source contributions, having done something out of the box, something unique, might be a highlight point. But let's say for companies like Google, Microsoft, Amazon, if even if you have a simple project and you are able to explain it and present it well, then it's good to go.
Um, now there is one more question, which is a little contradicting. The question is one big project enough for or for MNC company?
Matlab, even if you have one big project, right, and you can impress me with that one big project, you are in. So I can't just quantify how one big project is as per you and as per me as an interviewer.
Right.
To quantify that
Uh,
also, but yeah, it's good to have two projects minimum at least, because that would make your resume a little bit heavy, right? So yeah, that's it.
well, yep, that's it. And I hope the audience has benefited from the session. Along with it, if you guys might have further queries, we are unable to take all of them because the time is running. You can post those query in the comments, and we would do our best to answer those. And you have Ursh here. He is very active on Telegram and LinkedIn, so you can approach him as well, and I believe he will be happy to help you with the queries. Right, Ursh?
Yeah, sure, definitely. They can join on any of the platforms. We are having the giveaway on
Okay.
LinkedIn. Go hop on to LinkedIn right away and check out the post. Post will be live in some 2-3 minutes, right? For
All
that
right.
giveaway, you can get this course completely for free.
Okay. So, guys, again, he has clarified it. Three of you would be getting this whole system design course for free. Just you have to do is, Ash is going to give a very small task in his LinkedIn post just after this. So make sure you go there, see the task, complete it, and hopefully it is going to be you winning that free system design course. So I'd be ending the session now. Thank you so much, audience, for being such interactive audience and listening patiently. Thank you so much. Thanks, Serge, for being here.
Same
Bye-bye.
here.
Take care. Take care, everyone.